cobblestone streets of the old town, which creates a magical labyrinth with its pretty houses and forgotten nooks, making it very easy to get lost. What was originally a merchant's village gradually became the center of the Czech kingdom as the home of craftsmen, but also of Prague's elites, whose coexistence gave the town its character and made it the setting for many Prague legends. The Holy Spirit, which stands next to the Spanish synagogue, named after the style of its decor. The synagogue is on the same spot where the oldest Prague synagogue was built back in the 12th century. Next to it, you can see a statue of the famous Prague writer of German and Jewish origin, Franz Kafka. Is the longest and most significant Czech river and was key especially during the first settlement of the area. Even though it has given the capital its typical romantic nature, it can also become dangerous, as it did in 2002 when it caused great damage as it severely flooded the city, including the zoo, the underground and the historical center.
Nous arrivons maintenant au traverse la Vltava, magnifiquement décorée dans le style arrondi. La Vltava est la rivière tchèque de Prague. La Vltava peut aussi devenir très dangereuse, comme lors des dernières inondations en 2002, au cours desquelles le métro, le zoo et le centre historique ont subi des dommages considérables.
Academy, built in the late 19th century, which originally served as housing for impoverished children of the nobility. Now, the building is the seat of the government of the Czech Republic.
Sur votre gauche, vous pouvez voir l'Académie Straka, bâtiment construit à la fin du 19e siècle pour accueillir les enfants des familles bourgeoises sans fortune, désormais devenu siège du gouvernement de République tchèque.
A famous commander in the 30 Years' War. He had built this vast palace complex, which we are just passing on the left, in the place of 26 townhouses. The whole area includes gardens, ponds, and a grotto, and was intended to be greater than Prague Castle itself, which we can see up on the hill on our right side. Today, the Wallenstein Palace is the seat of the Czech Senate.
Nous empruntons maintenant la rue Waldstein, qui porte son nom d'après Albert de Waldstein, l'un des commandants les plus célèbres de la guerre de 30 ans. Il fit alors démolir 26 maisons pour permettre la construction du palais à côté duquel nous passons actuellement. Cet édifice est également remarquable par ses jardins, ses fontaines et ses grottes. L'ensemble ayant pour vocation, selon les plans de Waldstein, de concurrencer le château République tchèque.
St. Nicholas on our left. This area has been used as a market and a central point ever since the establishment of the lesser town in the 13th century, which also included public executions. This is also where a great fire started off in the 16th century, destroying most of the city on this riverbank.
Nous arrivons sur la place de Malas, dominée par l'église baroque Saint-Nicolas. Un marché a été organisé dès la fondation du quartier de Malas. Peut-on aussi dresser également?
One of the most famous streets in the city. The house signs you can see above the front doors are unique to this street, as they often signify the vocations of past inhabitants. The houses are also named after the signs, such as the House of the Two Sons, Three Little Violins, or the Donkey in a Cradle. While the houses date back to them they're named after, but Mozart, Haydn, or Casanova were also among frequent guests here.
Nous montons désormais vers le quartier du château, Prague, en suivant la rue Neulova, l'une des plus connues de la capitale tchèque.
Petra is best known for its gardens and views, making it one of the most romantic spots in Prague. On top of the hill, there is the Petra Tower, a smaller copy of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Above us, on the right side of the tower, we can see the Strahov Monastery, famous for its stunning library. The library itself dates back to the 17th century, yet its oldest piece was written in 860.
Sur votre gauche, vous pouvez voir la ville, un lido extrêmement proche que Charles IV avait choisi pour cultiver ses mains. Aujourd'hui, la ville est l'un des endroits les plus romantiques de Prague, et pour ses jardins et magnifiques points de vue.
A group of Baroque buildings, including a chapel, church, and a Capuchin monastery, which we can see down the hill on our left. Loreto is renowned for its 17th century chimes and a treasury. The large building standing on the opposite side is the Chervenin Palace, the biggest Baroque palace in Prague. Today, it is the seat of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and among Czechs, it is also well known for the mysterious death of Minister Jan Masaryk during the communist coup of 1948. It was rebuilt to be a residential house.
Sur votre gauche se trouve un palais qui est le siège des gardes du château. À la fin de cette ruelle, sur votre droite, vous pouvez aussi voir l'ancien hôtel de ville du quartier de Radechane. Une petite maison Renaissance ornementée de sgraffites. Celle-ci
Of St. Vitus, the Golden Lane, but also the representative and residential areas. The actual building of this castle took 1,000 years, taking place between the 10th and the 20th century. That is why its overall appearance may not be the most typical for a castle, yet it is the biggest castle complex in the world. If we look towards the castle, we can see the statue of the first Czechoslovak president, Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk, on our right-hand side. Between the statue and the main castle gate, there is a ramp with a wonderful view of the city. In the middle of the castle square, on our right, there is a Marianne column, signifying the end of a plague epidemic. This is where multiple church services took place during the epidemic of 1713. While this was the last time the plague was widespread in the country, it caused a very painful death for more than a third of Prague's population.
Nous arrivons maintenant sur la place Radechanskaya. Mais il n'en reste qu'il s'agit du plus grand château au monde. Lorsque...
Satisfy the increasing demand of those wishing to live in the capital.
Bien que nous ne visitons aujourd'hui que le centre historique de la ville, Prague, comme beaucoup de villes modernes, est une agglomération en constante croissance. Les immeubles que vous voyez sur votre gauche datent essentiellement des années 70 et ont permis de faire face à l'intérêt croissant que représentait alors la ville dans notre pays.
A 16th century bridge is located near the entrance, and so the whole area is known as the Powder Bridge.
Passons maintenant à côté des entrées latérales du château. Cet endroit.
While on our left, we can see a big building, originally the Cadet Academy, now the Ministry of Defense.
Nous arrivons dans la rue Marianskaya, numéro 1. Comme son nom l'indique, cette rue est dénommée d'après le apercevoir le bâtiment de l'ancienne école des cadets, où siège aujourd'hui le ministère de la Défense. Construit au milieu du XVIe siècle, on voit également appelé Belvédère ou château des Ténards, le nom de l'épouse de l'empereur Ferdinand Ier qui lui avait offert pour son anniversaire. La reine Anne est malheureusement morte avant que l'édifice ne soit achevé. Ce bâtiment abrite des salles d'honneur, mais aussi l'observatoire de Johannes Kepler.
As the city of 100 spires.
Nous arrivons maintenant dans la côte. D'ici, vous pouvez admirer la ville et la Beltana qui la dirige. Vous prendrez aussi pourquoi Prague est parfois surnommée la ville au centre.
This is a square and a hectic crossroad connecting many city quarters. On the right, we see the old castle stairs, which lead up to the castle, and on the left, in the middle of the little park, there are two memorials. The first, closer to the river, depicts a Czech flag and is dedicated to Prague victims of the resistance during World War II. The second, and newer one, of a winged lion, is dedicated to the almost 3,000 Czechoslovak pilots who fought for a free Europe in the British RAF. now crossing is called the Mannes Bridge. On our right-hand side, however, we can get a close look at the Charles Bridge, the most famous historical monument in Prague. It was built by Charles IV in the 1350s in the Gothic style, and it has maintained its original appearance until today. It was thanks to this stone bridge that Prague became a frequent stopover for merchants in the Middle Ages, which of course led to a greater development of the city. Behind the bridge, you can also see the National Theatre with its golden roof.
Nous sommes maintenant en train de traverser le pont Mannes, depuis lequel vous pouvez admirer sur votre droite le pont Charles, l'édifice le plus connu de la ville. Celui-ci a été construit dans le style gothique par le roi Charles Quint vers le milieu du XIVe siècle. Son aspect est resté inchangé. Grâce au confort de ce pont de pierre, Prague est alors devenu un lieu de passage très apprécié des marchands du Moyen-Âge, contribuant ainsi à la ville, typique par son toit doré.
A gallery and concert hall. On the right side of it, and in front of us, is the building of the philosophical faculty of Charles University. The whole square is named after Jan Palach, its most famous student. It became a symbol of resistance against communism when in 1969 he burned himself to death in protest of the Czechoslovaks' passive acceptance of the Soviet occupation.
Après le coup, la guitare est sur une petite place à la
It was established in the mid-1400s, and it comprises of around 12,000 tombstones. Although it covers a large area, it was not keeping up with the growing needs of the city, and thus it became necessary to bury the dead in up to 10 layers on top of each other.
Revenons à nouveau dans la ville juive de Prague, avec à votre droite le mur de l'ancien cimetière juif. Celui-ci date du milieu du XVe siècle.
All new synagogue, built in the 13th century, therefore one of the oldest ones in the world. With the exception of the Nazi occupation in the 1940s, it has been in continual use ever since its completion.
Sur votre droite, de l'autre côté du petit parc, vous voyez la synagogue gothique vieille nouvelle qui date du XIIIe siècle, qui est donc l'une des plus anciennes au monde. Puis tout le restait en activité, à l'exception de la période d'occupation nazie dans les années 40. Il s'agit de la principale synagogue de la communauté juive de Prague. La légende veut qu'il repose le célèbre golem, statue qui obéissait aux ordres de son maître et qui devait défendre les habitants du ghetto juif.
We are now passing through Paris Street, one of the most prestigious streets in the city, which runs from the bank of the river Vltava all the way to the Old Town Square, our finish point. It was established through the rebuilding of the Jewish town in the early 20th century and was named due to its likeness to the famous Parisian boulevards, some famous fashion houses and jewelry shops, which are well worth a visit, at least for their impressive window displays. As you have surely figured out, we are now coming back to the Old Town Square, which signifies both the beginning and the ending of our trip. We want to thank you for choosing us to show you around Prague.